Welcome to Hope in the Face of Cancer, where we share real stories of courageous people and their cancer journey. Today we have a very special guest, James Malinchak. James was featured on the hit ABC show, Secret Millionaire. He is a renowned author, speaker, and coach, and also my co-author of CanCare's Hope in the Face of Cancer book. James, thank you so much for being on our podcast
Oh,
today.
absolutely, Darcy. So good to see you, and hopefully we lay some positive footprints in people's hearts today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, before we get into your cancer journey, I'd love our audience just to get to know you a little bit. Tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
I grew up in a very tiny steel mill town outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a town called Monessen.
Mm,
I think about 6,000 awesome folks.
wow.
You blink, you miss it on a map kind of place.
One stop sign.
Yeah, well, yeah. We had a couple more, but we didn't have much growing up. Dad was a steel worker. Mom worked in the school as a lunch mother. And long story short, was pretty good at the sport of basketball. So took a basketball scholarship. Went to the University of Cincinnati out of high school to play basketball. Some things happened where my coach got relieved of his duties and I transferred and I went and played basketball and went to school in Hawaii.
Oh,
Blew my knee out, moved to Los Angeles, started a career as a financial advisor, stockbroker, had some success, and now here we are. I've written 30 books.
wow.
31.
31.
Yeah, well, we're good. I've done 3,000 some talks for all kind of groups all over the world, and done 2,000 plus one-on-one business consultations. And so I just kind of, and I was on the show Secret Millionaire, which was now viewed by 50 million plus people around the world, which
That's
is kind of
incredible.
crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you give back so much, not only to your coaching clients, but to the community. And so I just want to thank you for that. I know of your
Well, I always say, if I
yeah,
can interrupt you
please,
for a second,
absolutely.
the greatest gift you could ever receive is knowing you've made a positive difference in the lives of others.
Amen.
I mean, it's on the back of my envelopes.
Yeah.
It's on the back of everything I have, because I just think that's it. It's like the most beautiful gift,
That's right.
you know?
That's right. I love that. I love that. You have poured into so many people and had such successes in your career, but I know there was one journey in particular that was an unexpected one. Can you tell our listeners about Vicki?
Yeah. So I get a telephone call one day from my dad, and he said my sister Vicki was in the hospital with the right side of her body completely paralyzed. This was shocking for me because I was with Vicki 2 weeks before this happened, and she was perfectly fine. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what we did. We went to the mall, we ate pizza, we saw a movie,
Mm,
and then we were just hanging out,
yeah.
being sister and brother. So initially I thought, well, it has to be a pinched nerve in her hip
Mhm.
or in her back, because Vicki was a young person at the time this happened, 38,
Wow.
and she had 3 young children. First set of test results came back. It wasn't a pinched nerve. And we thought, oh, well, she probably had a stroke, because medical research is saying that people of younger ages, even way younger than 38, can have strokes
Sure.
nowadays. Second set of test results came back, and it wasn't a stroke. A few days went by, and I could not reach Vicki on the phone in the hospital she was in. So finally, I get connected to a new room that she was moved into. She answered the phone, and I said, Vicki, hey, how are you? And she said, did you hear?
Mm,
And I got even more excited, Darcy. I was like, well, what? They figured it out?
right.
That's why you're in a new room. In my mind, right? They upgraded you. You're coming home.
Yeah.
Everything's figured out. You're cool. She said, no, little brother, I have a brain tumor.
Mm,
And the doctors say I got about 3.5 months left to live.
wow.
Darcy, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah. How
I
could
was
you?
like, what? Because all I can remember going in my mind was, this doesn't happen to my sister, right? Because we never think it happens to our
Right.
siblings, our family members, people we love and care about.
Yeah.
I was like, what? No, huh? Like, I'm a big basketball star. Like, well, like what? What? It was so far from what I expected to hear.
Right.
Right. I hope nobody listening or watching this has ever experienced what I'm about to say I experienced next.
Yeah.
I hope nobody ever has. I hope nobody ever does. And I hope I never experience it again the rest of my life, because it was the scariest and freakiest thing I have ever experienced in my life. And Darcy, to this day, I can't explain how this happened.
Mm.
When Vicki said that to me, I tried to speak back to her,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing came out of my mouth. You know, you hear people say they tried talking and nothing came out, and you figure, they just decided not to talk.
Right.
No, I'm telling you, sure as we're sitting here right now on these chairs, I was speaking to Vicki the same way I'm speaking to you. There wasn't a sound coming out of my mouth. And I don't know how that happened, because I know I was talking. I don't know if my body was in shock, but it was like I'm talking, but there's no sound.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's the freakiest thing I've ever experienced, because I don't know how that happened, because I know darn well I was talking. And then unfortunately, about 3.5 months later, Vicki went on and passed away. And it taught me a very valuable lesson in my life at that time, my young life at that time. Life's about that long.
Yeah.
Life is too darn short to not be grateful and thankful and feeling blessed for what you have, because I don't make many guarantees, but I do guarantee everybody this. Not one person is guaranteed tomorrow morning.
That's right.
Not one person. You know, so
You should cherish every moment.
every single moment. You know, think about this. This is why I'm so big on not wasting not even a minute, but a second. Like being around people that discourage you instead of encourage you, is because every second you choose to allow someone to pour their negativity into your life, or their nonsense, or their drama, or you choose to waste it on stuff that really doesn't matter, is a second you don't get back the rest of your life. And so I understood how important time was when I went through the situation with Vicki, because Vicki has no more time here on earth. And that was the big aha. Two things. One, life is too darn short not to be happy and grateful and enjoy yourself and be around your loved ones and people who really like cherish you as a person, not because of things you did. And then the second thing is, don't waste your time, man. The clock's always ticking, and no one's guaranteed tomorrow.
Seize the day.
There you go.
That's right. So I know you only had a few months from hearing that diagnosis to Vicki's passing. For our listeners, how did you cope with that? I mean, how did you feed yourself? How did you keep yourself sane in that time period?
So, being the leader that I was in sports, and I'm so grateful at that time that I had that, like sports leadership. I was a team captain. I mean, we won a state championship in basketball. I played an all-star tournament. I was kind of a, good performing basketball player. And I was so grateful looking back that I had that, because I did something a little different. Obviously, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was scared. Like I never heard brain tumor before. I didn't know. I was freaked out, because Vicki was also almost like a second mom to me, because she was much older than me. Almost like
it's like two losses.
Yeah,
Sister and parent figure.
Yeah, and the sweetest, nicest person. She wouldn't harm. And I would tell you, the other thing I felt was anger. I was mad at everyone. I was mad at doctors. Why didn't you save her?
Yeah.
I was mad at God. I was mad at everybody, because I remember thinking, my sister wouldn't hurt a flea, let alone a fly.
Yeah.
You got drug dealers out there taking kids and doing awful things to them and kidnapping kids. Why don't you take them? Why are you taking Vicki? Right? So I was just very angry and for a while. Yeah. And you probably, I don't know if you've ever heard this. So I was in a bad funk. So one day I'm flipping through the TV. Well, let me tell you this. I turn on the TV. I remember like it was yesterday. I was vacuuming my rug. And I flip on the TV just to have something on while I'm vacuuming. And there's a television show that comes on called The Hour of Power with Pastor Robert Schuller from the legendary Crystal Cathedral Church in Southern California, the big glass church. I always say he's the guy that invested in Windex stock, because there's all glass. Right? He built this knowing something. And he was talking to a person named Mark Victor Hansen, interviewing him about this new book that he and his partner, Jack Canfield, just brought out a few months earlier, called Chicken Soup for the Soul. I had never heard of this Mark guy, this Jack guy, this chicken soup soul thing. I didn't know what he was talking about. Like chicken soup you eat. That's all I knew, right? And Mark was talking about how they were rejected 144 times
Wow.
trying to get the book started, and how everybody laughed at him and told him to quit. And that fascinated me. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I felt like a force, a hand. I shut the vacuum up, just pushed me down. I sat on my coffee table watching this. Now, I'd flipped through that television for years as a kid, always saw that pastor dude and never stopped.
But it grabbed you.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, 144 times, and how they wouldn't quit and they wouldn't give up. And then at the end, and this only lasted a few minutes, Pastor Schuller literally looked right into the camera at the end to close it out and said, and remember, my friend, whatever you're going through, tough times never last, tough people do. Call it what it was. I know he was talking to me that day.
Yeah.
And so that was the way that I started to kind of come out of the funk, right? And I drove literally to the bookstore, Barnes & Noble on Colorado Avenue in Old Town Pasadena, California. I remember it, everything. And I went in and said, you have some book called Chicken Soul Soup something? Like, I didn't know what they were talking about. And they said, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I said, yeah, you have that thing? I got the book. I read it cover to cover twice. And got so relit and re-inspired, and started getting rid of the hostility, and and then made me shift. A lot of things made me shift the television show and shift my mind, the book, that you gotta be grateful for what you have. You gotta be thankful for. So I started to shift how I looked at it. I gotta be thankful that Vicki was on this planet for 38 years.
Yes.
And had 3 amazing kids. Not what I lost out on.
Yeah.
And that shifted everything for me. So my advice, if I could be so humble to give somebody advice, because I don't know how people go through stuff. Here's the thing that I always did not like when I went through that, and I never try to do this to this day. When someone says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I know what you're going through," I'm like, "No, you don't.
Yeah.
You have no clue what I'm going through."
Everyone's story is unique.
Everyone's story is unique, and I know people are just trying to be kind.
Yeah.
But I remember how I'm thinking and I would have hundreds of people that would say that I know what you're going through. I'm like, who have you lost? Well, no one yet. I'm like, hey, you don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Did you lose your sister? Nope. So I made a vow that I would never say that to anybody. I always tell people, I don't know what you're going through. No one does.
Yeah.
But and I always ask permission, but if you like, maybe I could give you 1 or 2 ideas that help me. And I don't know if they work for you or not, but help me. And so and if they give me permission, I'll say, look, as tough as it is, I had to switch and be thankful for what I did have. So, and then I just had to justify it in my mind by saying there are parents that lose kids at birth.
That's right. There
are brothers that lose sister at age 7. I had Vicki all that time. My life, I wasn't there for the whole 38 years because she was older than me. I got these 3 amazing nephews.
Yeah. Yes.
Who wouldn't be here.
That's right.
So that's what helped me. So I never try to tell people here's what you should do, because I don't know what you should do. No one knew what I should do.
But that's your story. It's what got you through. It's that gratitude and just flipping your perspective. And I know that can be a gift to someone listening today. So I thank you so much.
And the reason I'm so passionate about and thankful for doing this interview and being the co-author of the book is I always feel that every time I tell it, maybe it helps one person, and that means I'm not helping them. Vicki is.
Hey, amen.
So that's why I wanted to do the book and be the co-author with you, because I thought, oh man, maybe Vicki can help one more person.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is, if I help one person, that's good enough. Everyone else is gravy. Right. Everyone else is whipped cream on the sundae. The goal is to help one. So
I love that, James. Thank you so much for sharing your story today with our audience. I know it'll be a blessing to many, and I just want to thank all of you for joining us today, and we hope that you'll like and follow the podcast. And if you or someone you love is facing cancer today, please reach out to us, CanCare at www.cancare.org. Our volunteers are there to provide a survivor by your side. We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Hope in the Face of Cancer, a survivor by your side. If you or someone you know is facing cancer or is supporting a loved one through their journey, we invite you to share this podcast.
Thank you for your support in our efforts in the cancer community. No one should face cancer alone.